In September 2015 from the southern Philippines resort. 2 of those abducted were beheaded and a third was freed earlier in the year, according to the Wall Street Journal. Also released were 3 Indonesian hostages from 2 locations in Lu'uk Municipality and Sulu Province, according to the Sulu Philippine National Police. CNN Philippines reported that they were identified by police as Lawrence Coten, Theodoros Kofang, and Emmanuel Arakian. While there were rumors the victims were released after paying 20 million in Philippine pesos, the equivalent of 42 million US dollars, officials said they were unaware of any ransom being paid in exchange for the release of the captives. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is not expected to attend the trial this week of 2 former associates charged in the 2013 Bridgegate scandal, but the failed Republican presidential hopeful's shadow will loom over the proceedings. Opening statements are scheduled for Monday in federal court in Newark, New Jersey. Bill Baroni and Bridget Ann Kelly are charged with conspiracy and fraud in a 9-count indictment alleging they arranged lane closings that caused gridlock on the heavily traveled George Washington Bridge. The resulting traffic delayed commuters for hours and left emergency vehicles slow in responding to 911 calls. Prosecutors said the 2 defendants planned the lane closures to take revenge on a mayor who refused to endorse Christie for re-election. The governor, at one time a leading Republican presidential hopeful, has not been charged in the scandal that nevertheless helped torpedo his hopes for nomination to the White House in 2016. In the 3 years since the scandal broke, Christie has repeatedly denied any knowledge of the plan to disrupt traffic on the world's busiest road, despite speculation to the contrary. The trial could finally provide a definitive answer to the question of whether he knew about the alleged plot, and if so, when. The George Washington Bridge carries more than 250,000 vehicles a day across the Hudson River between New Jersey and Manhattan. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Medical experts announced that an Ebola vaccine is at least 50 white people away from being developed. The CIA is now ready to install a female world leader, and a sex toy is discreetly shipped in a plain dildo-shaped box. Rising to the top of the video news summary game through an unstoppable combination of glad-handing and payoffs, this is the Onion Week in Review. Reflecting on his accomplishments and questioning his current abilities, the Lord God Almighty, our Heavenly Father and Blessed Savior, told reporters that he was no longer confident whether he would be able to create the world in only 7 days. He who commanded light to shine from the darkness admitted that the mere thought of producing the entirety of the universe from nothingness, a task he once completed with time to spare, had become surprisingly daunting, and added that creating a small, lifeless moon or asteroid now seemed like a more realistic goal. In this week's science news, psychology comes to a halt as weary researchers say the mind cannot possibly study itself.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free here. You may join us and take control of the airwaves. That's why we call the show Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want to discuss. There are obviously a lot of people talking about the recent attacks in New Jersey and New York and Minnesota, where apparently there was an attacker with a knife. Now, the attacks in New York and New Jersey were involving explosive devices. So we can get into all that here with you in the studio tonight. It's me, Ian.
Melanie.
And Darryl.
Don't forget, you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. So there's apparently an attack against multiple people that happened in Minnesota, where a man apparently took place at a shopping mall in the city of St. Cloud. Police say the knife man, quote, made references to Allah during his rampage and asked victims whether they were Muslim before attacking. The assault is being treated as an act of terrorism after an ISIS propaganda channel declared that the man, who has been identified as Dahir Adan, declared that he was part of their operations. An ISIS propaganda channel saying that he was one of theirs. A mock news agency said he, quote, carried out the operation in response to calls to target the citizens of countries belonging to the Crusader Coalition. St. Cloud University student Aden, who was born in Kenya but is of Somali descent, according to his father, was felled at least twice by gunfire from an off-duty police officer. This report from thesun.co.uk. Jason Falconer, a police officer at Avon Police Department, opened fire as the suspect lunged toward him, and then he was eventually fatally wounded after getting up after being shot the first time. In all, 9 people between the ages of 15 and 53 were hurt in the attack. So you've got that story, and then on top of that, there's attempted attacks in New Jersey and New York, bombings. This is what was making huge news yesterday after we got off the air, is when I finally noticed that it was going on. The story here coming from USA Today, where authorities are investigating an explosion that injured 29 people. So thankfully nobody died in said attack, nor the previous one, nor the one in New Jersey, where I don't believe anybody was injured. There was a bomb that went off in a trash can, allegedly in New Jersey. But people did get caught in this blast in New York in the popular Chelsea neighborhood on Saturday. Now, it's interesting, though. You've got a variety of methods here. Some are saying they don't believe these things are connected, but it's awfully coincidental that within a relatively short time frame, you've got 3 separate attacks, 2 of which are bombings. One, at the very least, called out by ISIS on one of their official propaganda channels as one of theirs. And information obviously coming out about the New York attack as well here. There is a video surveillance that shows what appears to be the same person moving bombs into place at the site of the explosion on West 23rd Street and a few blocks north on West 27th Street. The second device, however, did not detonate and is currently in the possession of the FBI for analysis.
Now, I don't know enough about these to say whether they're connected or not. And certainly, some people are going to say that the whole thing was set up by the government, and I don't think that that's true. But again, we don't have enough information right now. But there's always somebody that as soon as something happens, they start saying, oh, it's a false flag, the whole thing didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. But we don't know. And I'm not even speculating that. I'm just saying that that's what some people are going to start saying.
Yep, I haven't even gone to the conspiracy sites to see what they're saying about it. But you're probably right.
Your statement of, are they connected?
Conspiracy sites for that.
We don't know.
A federal law enforcement official who was not authorized to comment publicly said authorities had yet to identify the person involved, but a New York lawmaker posted on social media late Sunday the FBI had taken several individuals into custody in Brooklyn who had a possible connection to the bombing. Now, I did see another headline about them having a shootout with a suspect, and I believe that was in this particular case. So this particular story may be a little bit out of date.
Yeah, I saw a headline. It's actually one of the top stories on Google News right now. New York, New Jersey bombing suspect found sleeping outside of a bar, survives a shootout.
Yeah, and he is now in custody. The FBI had made an arrest, so on and so forth. Anyway, so now there's apparently a much more increased New York Police Department presence around town in New York this week. According to the mayor, Bill de Blasio, it is, quote, bigger than ever. The heightened alert comes as both a result of Saturday's explosion and because world leaders are gathering on Monday for the United Nations General Assembly, at which there's expected to be, quite a few bureaucrats in attendance. So you can join us here, share your thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The New York Governor, Andrew Cuomo, claimed that the explosion had no links to international terrorist groups, but now they've got this young man who appears to be of Middle Eastern descent in custody. So they always come out with that claim first and foremost is, well, this doesn't appear to be connected to terror whatsoever, even though, it may very well be. How you would be able to determine whether or not it was connected to any kind of terror ring within the first 24 hours.
Or even the first 48 hours or the first week. You don't know. Everything that's being said right now about who, was ultimately behind it is pure speculation.
It's true. So Saturday's explosion occurred just after 8:30 p.m. Eastern between 6th and 17th Avenues. None of the injuries appear to be life-threatening. They've been calling this a very serious incident, and obviously it is. Asked if the attack should be called terrorism, the governor told CNN, quote, frankly, it's semantics. It was an intentional bombing. It wasn't accidental. It was criminal. It was violent. There was no apparent link at this time to any international terrorist organization, and they claim no one has taken credit for it. But again, this might be a little bit old, so I'd be interested to see if ISIS or anybody has taken credit for the bombing in New York City.
And that was a state agent that said it was semantics?
Yes, that was the governor of New York. That's
surprising because you usually don't get that kind of rational honesty out of governors or any state agents.
Apparently, story from CNN that was last updated 6 minutes ago says that the man suspected in Saturday's bombing in New York and New Jersey has been captured after a frantic manhunt and shootout. Ahmad Khan Rahami was charged with 5 counts of attempted murder of law enforcement officers after a shootout Monday with police in Linden, New Jersey. He's also charged with second-degree unlawful possession of a weapon and second-degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose. Rahami is suspected of the bombing Saturday in New York City and Seaside Park, New Jersey. He is believed to be connected to pipe bombs found Sunday night in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. So they think he may be behind both New Jersey and New York City's attacks.
And New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, not New York Governor Cuomo, but Mayor de Blasio said, we have every reason to believe this was an act of terror, but he doesn't say that there's necessarily links to any international organizations. Rahami had traveled for extended periods to Afghanistan and Pakistan in the last 5 years, according to officials. He spent several weeks in Kandahar and Quetta in 2011. He's married to a Pakistani woman, or rather, he married a Pakistani woman in 2011. 2 years later, he went to Pakistan and remained there until March of 2014. Visited Afghanistan before returning to the United States.
Apparently the second device, so the one that did not go off, so there was the one that exploded, and then another one that they found inert, apparently, was a pressure cooker. Again, very much like the Boston Marathon bombing, you recall. They apparently safely removed that. It was attached to wiring, and a cell phone had been placed inside of a plastic bag. They removed it with a robot and is now in the FBI laboratory at Quantico. So you can share your thoughts here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and Skype in at username LRN.FM.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is $11 higher at $1,315 per ounce, and silver is 45 cents higher at $19.29 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at 607 US dollars. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage have been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
We're standing in the doorway when we came back out. I heard pop, 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 pop. The Hami was hit multiple times.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Well, whether the suspect Ahmad Khan Rahami in the bombing cases in New York and New Jersey from over the weekend, whether he actually had anything to do with the bombings, really probably won't matter too much now, considering that he was allegedly in a shootout with the police and has been charged with multiple felony counts of attacking police officers in that situation. So at the very least, he's going to likely go to prison for that. And if he happened to be the mad bomber at the same time, then I'm sure that'll just add to his very, very lengthy sentence. You can share your thoughts with us. We're here at 855-450-FREE. But isn't this what the government is supposed to be protecting us from? I saw somebody asking what I thought was a really good question on social media today. Aren't they supposed to be infringing upon all of our rights to privacy with the intention of supposedly stopping things like this from happening?
Supposedly.
Yeah, apparently that's not working real well. By the way, if you've got Bitcoin, we want you to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's called Jax, and you can get it at jaxx.io, or you can get it at your Google or Apple app stores. There's no wallet like it. It's got Bitcoin, Ether, as well as Dash, and more currencies are coming. There's shapeshift integration that allows you to easily move between currencies. So if you've got Bitcoin and you want to turn that into Ether or Dash, it's really easy to do with Jax.io. It was created by Anthony DiOrio, who is the founder, or one of the founders, of Ethereum. And it's easy to back up your wallet and recover your funds with Jax. Jax is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jax, the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's cross-platform, by the way, so you can get it not only for your phone, but also your laptop, desktop computer, or whatever. JAXX.io. So they have captured the alleged suspect, Ahmad Khan Rahami, after a shootout in Linden, New Jersey early this morning. His arrest came just hours after officials plastered his photo on a wanted poster saying he was wanted for questioning in connection with Saturday's blast that injured 29 people in New York City. Authorities haven't publicly detailed how it is they believe he's connected to the bombings, but they've said they're not looking for any other suspects. Quote, now that we have this suspect in custody, the investigation can focus on other aspects, such as whether he acted alone or what his motivations might have been. And according to multiple officials, investigators say that it is Rahami who is the man seen on surveillance video dragging a duffel bag near the site of the New York explosion and the location where police eventually found a suspicious pressure cooker 4 blocks away. If you're in New York City, there's a good chance if you're on the streets in, wherever it is you are, there's a good chance you're going to be recorded by some sort of surveillance cameras.
Yes.
Closed-circuit television or whatever. His last known address was Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is the same city where a backpack with multiple bombs inside was found on Sunday night. But so far, authorities haven't publicly said whether they believe Rahami is linked to those explosives. Some sources say they believe that he is. And then they talk about his history of traveling to Afghanistan, as you had revealed just a few moments ago, as well as Kandahar, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, according to a law enforcement official who reviewed his travel and immigration records. Quetta is another place he visited, which is considered to be a stronghold of the Taliban. Upon his return to the United States, he had to go through secondary screening because he visited an area of Pakistan known for its Taliban presence. According to the official, at that time he told immigration officials he was visiting family and attending his uncle's wedding and renewing his Pakistani visa. And this was back in July of 2011. 2 years later, in April of 2013, he went back to Pakistan, stayed there until 2014, and then 2 other law enforcement officials said that he had gone there for approximately 1 year. So definitely spending a lot of time over in the Middle East, allegedly connected to the bombs. You got to hand it to them if this wasn't indeed some sort of government-created bombing. They did manage to find their man relatively quickly here in this this circumstance. How they managed to pull those sorts of things off, I don't know. And I think it's...
Well, I mean, they probably did what they do in, I guess, regular crime, where they just arrest the first person that fits the profile. So...
Unless they pulled fingerprints off of something and they had records of him or something like that.
Well, it usually takes a lot longer than that to pull fingerprints.
You would think so.
They also said that they found the guy sleeping, so, it could have just been dumb luck that they stumbled across the guy.
The Rahami family alleged discrimination and harassment in a lawsuit filed against the city and its police department, arguing officials conspired against them by subjecting them to citations for violating a city ordinance on hours of operation regarding their business, First American Fried Chicken. The family has a history of clashes with the community over the restaurant, which used to be open 24 hours a day. The suit alleges that police officers and city representatives had said, quote, the restaurant presented a danger to the community, and accused a neighboring business owner of saying, quote, Muslims make too much trouble in this country and Muslims don't belong here. The defendants, including police and city officials, denied the allegations. And now, apparently, according to a story I saw earlier, people on Facebook have been rating the chicken restaurant very, very poorly, even though presumably his family members didn't have anything to do with the actual bombing. Let's go to Hung Like Jesus. He's in Atlanta on via Skype. Hello, Hung.
Hey, Ian and the rest.
Welcome.
I think these groups that do these things, these so-called terrorists, and even with the white supremacists, I think these people are so heavily infiltrated by the government. They know exactly what's going on. And this may be a little bit Conan conspiracy theory-ish, but I think the only time that they do something is when the government allows it to happen. Because you can't tell me someone's traveling back and forth to the Middle East, coming back here and just settling into the neighborhood, and no one's watching them. I just don't believe it.
Well, they do claim they found him via a fingerprint, Melanie, looking a little bit further in this story. And also the cell phone that was connected to the pressure cooker also provided some clues to his identity.
The article that I have from CNN says that the bar owner actually called 911 after watching CNN from a business that he owns across the street and seeing the man sleeping in the doorway of the bar fit the description of who they described.
It's a strange thing to do after you've gone and bombed a place is pass out in front of a bar.
Out in the doorway of a bar.
What is the normal thing to do after you bomb a place?
Good point. But Hung, you don't buy this. You say this guy either was involved with the federal government or at the very least the government was keeping an eye on him and they knew he was going to do this?
Well, I won't say that he was involved with the government, but I am going to say, and I'm fairly confident in the fact that they knew exactly who this person was. It's like they know who all of them are. I don't think there's such thing as a sleeper cell. I just don't believe it. And the same thing with the other ones, the domestic terrorists, the white supremacists. These groups are heavily infiltrated. And like I said, the only time they'll do anything is when the government allows it to further an agenda or whatever.
Right, and I think best case scenario is gross negligence, because if they're going to say, okay, we're tapping every phone, not necessarily on the planet, because we can't necessarily get into every country, but we're definitely tapping every phone in the U.S., turning the cameras on remotely, turning the microphone on remotely. Okay, so you can search through that to be like, oh, this guy seems like he's probably a terrorist, so maybe we should watch him instead of watching, like, I don't know, somebody else, 15-year-old down the street, because that's a more interesting conversation. So best case scenario, negligence. Yeah. I mean, and do I think
if you got more, stand by. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free here. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And joining you tonight, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
And Darryl.
We've been discussing the alleged terror attacks that have taken place over the weekend. Apparently, it was on Saturday night when both bombings were conducted in New York City, and also apparently one nearby New Jersey. But then another, or actually a multiple stabbing apparently happened in Minnesota also on Saturday night. You're welcome to comment on these things. Still to come here tonight, we'll check in with the insanity down in Venezuela, and a very fascinating story from the ACLU about the police recording themselves accidentally. What the recording was accidental. The conspiring to fabricate criminal charges against a protester was definitely not accidental, that they caught themselves doing on a video camera. So we'll tell you about that coming up here in a few moments. Our toll-free number, again, is 855-450-FREE. And if you've ever wanted to start up your own blog or website but have been overwhelmed by the complexity of it all, well, you're in luck, because HostGator makes it super easy. They've got a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress and 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, as well as a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into the hands of you, the customer. And you, because you're a Free Talk Live listener, if you use this gateway to get into the site, hostgator.com/FTL, you'll save 30% off of their regular prices. So special offer for Free Talk Live listeners with one of the top hosting companies out there, HostGator. They've got a 99.99% uptime rating, so you don't have to worry about outages. Get that special offer of 30% off for Free Talk Live listeners by visiting hostgator.com/FTL. FTL like Free Talk Live. hostgator.com/FTL. We're discussing the various different alleged bombers and stabbers. We started out the show talking about the Minnesota mall stabbing. Dahir Aden was allegedly in a joyful and happy mood on Saturday before he went to a St. Cloud, Minnesota mall to buy a phone, according to community leader on Monday. Aden, who's a private security firm employee with a good reputation in St. Cloud's Somali community, was intent on purchasing a newly released iPhone 7, according to Haji Yusuf, a local Somali community leader who'd been in contact with the man's family. Aden, who is age 22, is suspected of storming that mall and stabbing 9 people on Saturday right before he was shot dead by an off-duty police officer. Earlier, 2 Somali community leaders in contact with the man's family told CNN that Aden had been acting strangely before the incident. Details about him and the incident began to emerge today as government people worked to piece together the suspect's background and pinpoint his motive. They are looking to find out as much as they possibly can about him. Federal law enforcement sources and Somali community leaders identified Aden on Monday, and an ISIS-linked news agency praised him as a, quote, soldier of the Islamic State. Now, just because an ISIS Twitter channel or news agency or whatever claims that he was a part of ISIS doesn't actually mean that he was. Right?
Also, doesn't
even sound to me like
the-
he was being claimed as a member in any kind of official way. That seems more like an honorary thing to me.
Well,
or
it,
at least
it also doesn't mean that the Twitter channel or whatever was actually being run by anybody actually connected to the Islamic State. Could just be some internet troll that made up a Twitter feed that says, oh yeah, we're ISIS and this guy was with us.
Well, presumably whoever it was has had a history of reporting on ISIS-related claims and things like that.
One would
not that it was
think,
just created
but
fresh.
the media, there are some lazy people in the media that they just go with the first thing they see. Remember, we covered the thing here a couple years ago where some people took a spoof article that said North Korean state media claimed to land on the sun, and they ran with it. It went on CNN, for crying out loud.
Right.
I mean, that happens all the time.
Well, not a whole lot, but it does happen often enough, yeah.
Well, it happens pretty regularly.
Where reporting
not
on
that specific article, but their
media gets spoofed by...
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know how regular. I mean, how regular are you talking about?
I mean, a couple times a year, maybe.
Okay,
Not
yeah,
like
okay,
not like every
I
single
wouldn't-
day, but
yeah,
like that's
regular.
regularly.
I don't
like,
consider that regular. I would consider regular like once a week.
I mean,
or
if I
something like
quoted fictitious court cases 3 times a year in court documents, I'd have a problem. So the fact that CNN is quoting sites like The Onion, but not The Onion, a few times a year that's a problem to me. Like,
in one case in China, they actually quoted The Onion as though it were a real news source.
Oh, yes. The Onion recognized Kim Jong-un as the sexiest man alive.
That's right.
Something.
Something like that. Aiden, by the way, had a stellar reputation in St. Cloud's close-knit Somali community, said Yusuf, who is a director at United Cloud, a group that works to resolve tensions in St. Cloud. Yusuf called him a very exceptional young man who loved his family and respected his community. He was a, quote, exceptional student and very smart. Yusuf said family members want to see footage of the incident in which the suspect was said to have lunged at people before he was shot. So that's pretty much all the information I've got on these various different attacks. They claim to have found the suspect in New Jersey and New York City, and they're not, they don't believe he's connected to anyone else. They also say the same thing about Mr. Aiden, who is now dead in Minnesota, saying he is not connected to anyone else, and the only one who's alive at the moment is the bombing suspect in New York City.
And it will be interesting to see if he gets a fair trial.
well, I mean, regular people don't get a fair trial. Why would he get a fair trial?
Indeed.
Well, regular people are able to, for the most part, present a defense. And so that's
half the time not really what you want
of a fair trial.
Well, a lot of times the defense you want to present isn't the one they'll let you present, right? Like we saw that with the Ross Ulbricht case and plenty of other cases where the judge will say, I will not have the Constitution in this courtroom.
Right. Now, I don't think anyone would, in their right mind, would say that Ross Ulbricht got a fair trial. I don't think anybody in their right mind would say that Private Manning got a fair trial.
And those are all
but when you go to court for a speeding ticket, you presumably have a fair trial.
Well, that's a really weird presumption. I mean, like, okay, I don't think that anybody is arguing that high-profile people do not get a fair trial. But just regular people on regular charges do not get, even by statist standards, do not get fair trials.
I think most people that love the state would say that you get a fair trial when you go in for a speeding ticket.
I mean, I'm sure that lots of people would say that. There's also lots of things that happen to be illegal. If you ask them, is it illegal to pour bleach directly into your washing machine? I'm sure they'd tell you no, but guess what it is? As absurd as that is,
And I will need to reread a shampoo bottle, but my understanding is if you rinse and don't repeat, you are violating federal law.
No, because it's not an antimicrobial or a pesticide.
So it's only antimicrobials where it's use outside of the regulation or
right,
the
because for
instructions.
them to get jurisdiction over it, the agency, I want to say the EPA, but that might not be right. Whatever agency it is, for them to get jurisdiction over it, it would have to be something that kills. It's supposed to be pesticides, but they argued successfully that antimicrobials were pesticides because they kill a thing.
Right.
So,
like most household cleaning products, it says on the label, use in conflict with the instructions on this label is a federal crime.
yeah, that is accurate.
Yeah, I thought that was on shampoo as well.
I've never seen that on shampoo, but if it is, I'm not aware of any federal law that makes that apply to shampoo because shampoo is not antimicrobial.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair trial as long as you consider having the prosecutor, defense attorney, and the judge and all the witnesses against you, all of them teamed up against you to be a fair trial. Yes, in some cases, some people do get that. 855-450-FREE. I don't think we tend to agree that that's a fair situation, though.
Yeah, that's not fair.
This is Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-1063. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-945-1063. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-945-1063. That's 1-800-945-1063.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Investment Rarities, a 43-year-old company, has created the best silver offer ever. Get a U.S. Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, Austrian Philharmonic, OPM Pure Bar, and Silver Round. Have all 5 for $99 post-paid. You heard me right, 5 ounces of silver below cost. No credit card fees, free shipping. Just $99 and you'll have a great start on what it takes to survive even the worst economic storm. Act now and receive Jim Cook's exclusive paper explaining how it's possible to make a fortune in silver today. Don't miss this opportunity. Call 800-328-1860. Read how the above-ground supply of silver has dropped below even gold. The secret is being suppressed. The price could explode at any time. Call today at 800-328-1860. Get 5 ounces of silver for only $99. Find them on the web at investmentrarities.com or call 800-328-1860. Call now before it's too late. 800-328-1860.
Attention CPAP users. Stop the insanity and torture of your CPAP mask. Don't you hate the skin irritation and terrible leaks? Jump on the CPAP Pro train, invented by an actual CPAP user that became so frustrated with CPAP masks. Are you ready to try something new? With absolutely no straps or headgear? Go to nomask.com and get the best night's sleep ever. Free to Medicare patients. Go to nomask.com. That's NOMASK.com.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can join us right here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. As many people are scared due to the recent attacks, like 3 of them, basically, over the weekend. Saturday, an attempted multiple stabbing in a Minnesota mall by a man who ISIS, someone claiming to be ISIS is claiming he was part of their organization. You've got another man who, and that guy's shot to death, by the way, by an off-duty cop. You got another man who is now in custody after being shot by police in an alleged shootout after having been sought as the alleged bomber in New York City over the weekend, where 2 bombs, one went off, the other was found, had not gone off, and in the Chelsea district, I believe it was called. And so we've been covering that, kind of talking about, what we know at this point about that. And I think one of the things that we do know for sure is that a lot of the folks who are motivated to commit acts of terror are motivated because of the acts of the U.S. federal government over in the Middle East. And, people may ask why these things are happening. Well, the reason why they're happening isn't because Muslims hate you. It's because certain people in the Middle East are angry, given that the United States government has drone bombed and actual bombed, big bombed various different targets. There's a new video, well, I guess newish. It's new to me. It actually came out in July with John Cantlie. Now, we've been following the ISIS videos off and on here over the last few years on Free Talk Live.
John Cantlie, is that the guy they refer to as Jihadi John?
No. Jihadi John, oh God, what happened to him? There was something that happened to that guy, and I'm totally spacing out on when the last time we'd seen him was. If you want to Google Jihadi John, I believe they ended up killing him or something like that, allegedly. But no, John Cantlie was one of the captives. He was a British photojournalist who was captured, and ultimately the U.S. and I think the U.K. governments tried to send in some sort of squad of troops to come and rescue certain captives, and they were unsuccessful. So John Cantlie has been in captivity for a number of years now down there. And they started using him probably like 2 years ago, it feels like. They started using him as their unofficial spokesperson. And they would make videos with Cantlie sitting in a dark room, lit up with like a black background behind him, sitting in an orange T-shirt. So basically looking like a prisoner, and delivering ISIS propaganda into a camera. They then later sort of promoted him, if you will. They brought him out into the streets of various different Iraq cities where he would report, like you would see somebody on a news media program, somebody like John Stussel or whoever,
right.
outside walking through a city, microphone in hand, walking towards a cameraman and kind of doing that sort of typical newsman on the streets style of reporting. And what he would do is show the different cities where ISIS was ostensibly in control and being under attack by the U.S. federal government, the military, and showing the damage that was allegedly caused by U.S. military attacks, and talking about how it has, destroyed lives and has made life difficult for the people who are still alive in the areas in which those attacks are happening. Then he kind of disappeared from the radar for a series of months before popping back up earlier this year in March, and now again a new video in July. So I figured I'd play this because we've kind of made a habit of playing the Cantlie propaganda videos. In this particular video, as is noticed by the Daily Mail, he's looking thinner than ever. John Cantlie is 45 years old, kidnapped in November of 2012. In previous video footage, he has looked like fairly well fed. In this one, he looks a little more gaunt than normal. And the shirt that he's wearing is way too large for him. So in previous so there's like the time frame where he was at a table in a room, and then there's the time frame where they've had him going out into the cities. So the most recent, like 4 or 5 videos, they've had him in the various different cities. And in the ones prior to this one, he's looked good. He's looked sharp. The clothes that he was wearing fit him. And this one, it's like they just threw any old shirt on him that they could find, one that's, looks like a 2X or something. You can tell a shirt's too large, as I understand it, by where the seam for the sleeve ends. If it ends at the end of your shoulder, then that's like the proper sizing for the shirt. This one, it's hanging down quite a ways, sort of down his arms. It's definitely in a non-fitting shirt. It looks a little shabby in comparison to his previous appearances. But here's what it was that he had to share. He's speaking about a alleged bombing against Mosul University here. And I'm going to pull up the video. This is one of their productions, which are always very, very high quality. They do a good job. Kudos to the ISIS video production team, because they. Oh, wait a minute! Something's still playing in the background there. We can't have that. Anyway, kudos to the ISIS video production team, because they actually do a pretty good job of putting these things together. So here he is.
And I did do a search for Jihadi John. Apparently, he was killed November 12th of last year.
Yep, that's what I think he was killed by other ISIS people, wasn't he?
Not really sure. The wiki article just says that U.S. officials confirmed that he had been killed by a drone strike.
Oh.
Doesn't say who the drone strike was from. Presumably, if U.S. officials are reporting it, it was a U.S. drone strike.
Okay, fair enough. So here you go. Audio from ISIS.
Hello, I'm John Cantlie, and today we're at Mosul University, or at least what's left of Mosul University. If you look behind me, you'll see it's pretty much been completely smashed to pieces. Now, the strike was about 3 months ago, about 9 o'clock in the morning, and as we've driven onto the campus from around the corner here, I've counted at least 6 huge explosions. I think there must be a lot more. And these are big bombs. We're talking 2,000-pounders here. The university is next to one of the busiest streets in all of Mosul. The shopping street and the market district is literally just the other side of the main gates over there. 103 people were injured in the strike, 15 were killed. Now, the level of destruction is absolutely massive. Now, Mosul University was the finest and biggest university in all of Iraq. Now, if it was a military hardpoint, if it was a weapons cache, or if it was being used as a training ground by the Mujahideen, perhaps you could understand. But it was simply Mosul's, and in fact Iraq's, finest university, now reduced to a huge pile of rubble. And you have to ask yourself why. You have to ask yourself, why did the coalition decide to destroy the university? No one here knows. If you ask them why, they'll say, we don't know.
By the way, they have drone footage of the damage that was done to what is supposedly Mosul University, and it is pretty tremendous damage. This isn't some sort of little pipe bomb that ISIS set off.
We don't know. The normal, social, everyday life had been completely destroyed. And you have to ask yourself, if you're going to destroy a university, why bother?
And then the drone, you can hear the buzzing the whole time in the background. The drone then picks up from where it was and sort of rises up, and you can see more of the destruction of the university. So what Cantlie's role here is for ISIS is to show some of the alleged destruction created by the U.S. government and their affiliates, and I think point out that this is one of the reasons why you have terrorism.
I don't think you can call it alleged destruction when the U.S. military is admitting to having droned these places and paid other people in weapons and money to, bomb these places.
Is a 2,000-pound bomb something that a drone can deliver? That sounds pretty heavy.
I don't know what size bombs come out of a drone, but there's also airplanes that are flying over and dropping stuff.
Right.
There was a shipment of food that the U.S. military tried to airdrop, and it was a total of 21 tons. I think it was 7 tons landed in a minefield. Several tons of the food wound up landing in area held by the Islamic State, and the rest of it wound up smashing to the ground so hard because the parachute didn't open that it was rendered useless.
The university, according to Vice News, was bombed as part of a massive daytime barrage against the IS-occupied city on Saturday. This was back in March. While the civilian death toll is impossible to verify, the Iraqi outlet NRN News reported that as many as 25 civilians had been killed. Activists on the ground told Vice News that a dozen civilians were killed and 87 wounded. Now, the U.S. was apparently claiming that the Mosul University was an Islamic State headquarters. And Cantlie there saying, nope,
I don't think you can fairly classify a school as purely civilian anyway. I'm not saying they should be bombing colleges, but I don't think...
Hold that thought. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keenan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, September 19th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,315 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $611. Antiwar.com reports an oil tanker at the Libyan oil port of Ras Lanouf has been forced to flee into the water to avoid being caught up in heavy fighting over the weekend as a pair of ports were attacked by forces loyal to the Libyan Unity government aiming to reclaim the ports. These oil ports have been under the control of the Unity's Government Petroleum Facilities Guard, PFG, until last weekend when General Khalifa Haftar's forces loyal to the rival Tobruk parliament attacked and captured the important oil ports. The PFG is meant to defend facilities from being overrun like this, but many of them had been repurposed by the Unity government into a makeshift offensive force which has been trying to capture the city of Sirte from the Islamic State. Short-handed, the Guard was unable to fend off the well-armed Libyan National Army for very long, and while the international community is urging Haftar to cede the ports back, so far he's refused to do so, and his forces managed to repel this weekend's counter-offensive. The fighting further reduces the amount of oil Libya is able to export, adding to economic struggles that have been constant since the NATO-imposed regime change, and no faction seems to be able to control the entire oil apparatus for any measurable span of time. Are you an advocate for free market money? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports 4 Abu Sayyaf hostages, including a Norwegian man who had been held for almost a year, were freed over the weekend. Jartan Sekingstad was retrieved from the southwestern Philippine city of Jolo by Secretary Jesus de Ruza, an advisor who works as a liaison with Muslim and communist insurgents on the peace process. Military officials said Sekingstad and the Indonesians were flown Sunday to meet Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte in Davao City. Sekingstad was among 4 abducted in September 2015 from the southern Philippines resort. 2 of those abducted were beheaded and a third was freed earlier in the year, according to the Wall Street Journal. Also released were 3 Indonesian hostages from 2 locations in Luuk Municipality and Sulu Province, according to the Sulu Philippine National Police. CNN Philippines reported that they were identified by police as Lawrence Coten, Theodoros Kofang, and Emmanuel Arakian. While there were rumors the victims were released after paying 20 million in Philippine pesos, the equivalent of $42 million US, officials said they were unaware of any ransom being paid in exchange for the release of the captives. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is not expected to attend the trial this week of 2 former associates charged in the 2013 Bridgegate scandal, but the failed Republican presidential hopeful's shadow will loom over the proceedings. Opening statements are scheduled for Monday in federal court in Newark, New Jersey. Bill Baroni and Bridget Ann Kelly are charged with conspiracy and fraud in a 9-count indictment alleging they arranged lane closings that caused gridlock on the heavily traveled George Washington Bridge. The resulting traffic delayed commuters for hours and left emergency vehicles slow in responding to 911 calls. Prosecutors said the 2 defendants planned the lane closures to take revenge on a mayor who refused to endorse Christie for re-election. The governor, at one time a leading Republican presidential hopeful, has not been charged in the scandal that nevertheless helped torpedo his hopes for nomination to the White House in 2016. In the 3 years since the scandal broke, Christie has repeatedly denied any knowledge of the plan to disrupt traffic on the world's busiest road, despite speculation to the contrary. The trial could finally provide a definitive answer to the question of whether he knew about the alleged plot, and if so, when. The George Washington Bridge carries more than 250,000 vehicles a day across the Hudson River between New Jersey and Manhattan. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Reflecting on the persistent troubles it caused his sibling during childhood, local doctor Daniel Barrett told reporters this week about his average-looking brother, Kevin, who first inspired him to be a cosmetic surgeon.
As a kid, I remembered thinking that there was nothing I could do for Kevin. Watching someone you really love and care about suffer from a weak jawline or unsymmetrical features, it had a major impact on me.
And in this week's local news, a community theater gives the part of Blanche Dubois to Kathy Hamilton. In other news, a moviegoer manages to sneak candy past a teenage usher earning $7 an hour. A new app matches you with others in the vicinity who wasted $2.99 on the same app. And a Roman centurion crawling out of a New York City manhole cover is in for one wacky adventure. Having graciously spread my knowledge to the uneducated masses, I now return to the stately, elegant ranks of News Announcer Society. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you may dial toll-free to join us on the radio. The number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3232. 888-203-3733. Tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
We're talking about some of the alleged terror attacks happening here in the United States. Just over the weekend, you've got a multiple attempted stabbing in a Minnesota mall. That man is dead as of the result of an off-duty police officer who was in the mall taking him out. There's also another man who is in custody for alleged bombings in New York City and New Jersey also over the weekend here. I think pretty much all of the stuff happened on Saturday evening or Saturday night.
Saturday and Sunday.
Was there one on Sunday? Okay, I missed that one.
Part of the New York, New Jersey thing was between Saturday and Sunday.
So over the overnight then. So that guy's in custody, and we were kind of talking about we discussed the cases and, what bare minimum that we know about them at this moment. But also, what about motivation? Why are these things happening? Many Americans may be wondering why they're being attacked. And, we've talked about these things for years here on Free Talk Live, but there's always new people tuning in. So it behooves us to say that, well, it's likely because of the U.S. government's aggression overseas, specifically in the Middle East, in places like Iraq and Syria. We were playing audio from the most recent John Cantlie video that I could find, this one coming from July. I hadn't seen it yet, and I don't know how many of you out there had seen this either. But it's, once again, John Cantlie, a former photojournalist, British photojournalist, who has been captured and in captivity since, I believe, November of 2012. He has basically become the spokesperson for ISIS, the English-speaking spokesperson. ISIS makes Arabic videos as well, but they have certain videos that they are intending to deliver to a Western audience with their propaganda in it. Now, let's be fair. I mean, all the sides have their own propaganda. The U.S. government has its propaganda, and the U.S. government's version of the story about the bombing of the Mosul University is that it was an Islamic State headquarters, they say. Now, John Cantlie is in the streets of Mosul showing the damage in this video. They've got a drone that kind of flies around. You can see it's pretty extensive damage that they've done here.
And by comparison, in... what was it, 2014, I think it was now, when the U.S. military bombed, not with a drone, with actual airplanes, bombed a hospital in Kunduz, Afghanistan, multiple times. After Doctors Without Borders had repeatedly notified them, here's our GPS coordinates. Hey, just a reminder, here's where our hospital is. U.S. military somehow got confused about the location where a terrorist was and drone bombed the nearest building that just happened to have been the hospital, or not drone bomb, but bombed it with airplanes, and they made passes for about an hour and a half.
Wow, that's terrifying.
Bombing the hospital. But they investigated themselves and found out that there were no war crimes because they didn't intend to bomb the hospital. They just happened to have repeatedly bombed a hospital that they knew was a hospital, but the pilots of the airplanes were not given the do not bomb list.
Footage released by ISIS shows smoke rising from what appears to be the University of Mosul. Two massive plumes, according to Vice News, could be seen above a nearby high-rise while the surrounding street is littered with shrapnel and debris. And the video that we saw with John Cantlie in it was shot 3 months after the bombing happened, and it was just a huge pile of rubble behind him. So nobody's really getting cracking on rebuilding the university there because it's extensive damage. The Pentagon reported that they had hit a variety of targets around Mosul, including Islamic State vehicles, a bridge, a supply cache, and a, quote, headquarters, unquote. The Pentagon told Vice News that it was the ISIS headquarters on Mosul University that they attacked. They clarified they had not designated the entire university as an ISIS headquarters, but rather just some buildings that are part of the university. Quote, specific buildings the coalition struck have been turned into a headquarters building by ISIL since late 2014 or early 2015, said the Pentagon. Quote, ISIL had also been using the buildings as training areas, weapons manufacturing, and storage facilities and communications equipment hubs. The Mosul University strike met all criteria and was coordinated with the government of Iraq before striking, they claim. So they say, hey, we got all the evidence we need here. We can bomb this university.
Yeah, I mean, and they shouldn't be bombing probably anything over there, and the U.S. is good for bombing some random stuff. But a university is not a non-strategic target. A university is not... I mean, okay, it's not a military base, I understand that, but it's not...
Well, they're saying it was. They're saying they were doing military trainings for their ISIS soldiers there. So the claim being that the U.S. government is saying
I don't really trust anything they say either, but
No, you
even if
can't.
it's just a college, which I think is going to be the assumption that most people are making, because they're saying, okay, well, it was a university and, this building had weapons in it or whatever, but like, a college is a university is just strategic target. I'm sorry. Like, it is. I mean, it's where you teach people and to...
When you say it's a strategic target, you mean for the U.S.
war.
government to target?
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to say that, like...
Or for ISIS to take over?
Well, I mean, it's a school, so I would say... I feel like that's an incoherent question. It's a school, so the government is already in charge of it. They can't take it over.
So, therefore, the students are not civilians, thus not subject to international humanitarian law that says that you do not target civilians?
No, I'm not... No. Well, first of all, international law isn't really a thing.
So then you don't bomb schools.
Well, but
you don't bomb anything.
Right.
But schools are not...
International humanitarian law, i.e. the rules of war, specify
there are no rules of war.
Yes, there are. There are treaties that are signed by countries all around the globe that they refer to as the rules of war.
Yeah, okay, I understand that
things that if you do, it's a war crime. Bombing civilians intentionally is a war crime. Bombing a hospital is a war crime.
Okay, but
civilians
since there's no
are in school.
Okay, I'm not advocating bombing schools, but it is not a non-strategic target. And since this is a war, like, anything you do is going to be heinous because that's what a war is, but it's not... And look, the U.S. is really good for, like, hey, there's a random building. What is it? I don't know. Let's blow it up. Like, yeah, okay, the feds do that daily. But just the argument that they're making, that ISIS is making in that video, or, feel sorry for us because they bombed our indoctrination center. Like, that's not really a good argument on ISIS's part. I understand that a lot of people are going to fall for it, but that's a really poor argument on ISIS's part.
Well, why is it a poor argument? I mean, they're saying this is a place of education. This is a place where,
Well, a school and a place of education are two very different things, but...
Okay, I mean, well, look, I mean, you might be jaded and everything, but some people still manage to learn a thing or two when they go to school.
Well, yeah, okay, so you learn a thing or two here, you're there for 4 years, like...
I'm a critic of schools, too, okay? But generally, people that are attending schools are doing it on a voluntary basis, and they're doing it because they believe it's going to better their life. I don't agree that it always does. I think in most cases it just impoverishes them even further.
Well, I mean, I don't know
debt,
what the system is over there, but over here you don't go to school. I mean, you go to school because you need the piece of paper to get a job. Like,
well, that's what people think.
I don't
but
think that most
don't.
people are under the. I don't even think that most people are under the delusion that they're going to school to better themselves and get an education. They're going to school so that they can get a job. Like,
well,
most people go to school to party.
Feds, I don't know.
I think everybody's got their own motivations for why they go.
I am not saying
Get drunk and bang chicks.
Well, I mean, there's some people who are doing that.
I'm sure there's some people who do that, but
some people think they're actually going to get an education, and some are going to get the piece of paper. I think all of those things are true. But really what we've got here are two different propaganda pieces. One from the U.S. military saying, well, that wasn't just a school. That's a training ground.
It is a training ground because it's a school.
No, they're talking about a military ISIS training grounds. You're talking about training people to be obedient serfs throughout life.
To ISIS.
It's kind of a different
So if your enemy is
story.
ISIS, it's not insane to bomb a school. It's wrong, but it's not insane.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. So the military is saying, yeah, this was a military target. The ISIS propaganda is that, nope, this was just a regular old school, and they bombed it for no reason. This is Free Talk Live. What's the truth?
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Shortly after Seattle area consulting firm Brink and Tiller received a resume from Corey Wilhelm, a college graduate with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Communications, Human Resources Director Robert Bradshaw immediately fast-tracked Wilhelm's application and spoke with The Onion about this exceptional candidate.
Well, the second I saw Corey's resume, I knew I had to send it straight up to our CEO. I mean, we're talking about an applicant who not only got into the University of Washington School of Communication, but also managed to graduate in 4 years with a Bachelor of Arts. This kid's only 22, but according to his resume, he already has experience in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. We're really going to have to move fast to get this guy.
Bradshaw went on to say that company heads could barely believe the candidate had 2 years of experience working at his college newspaper and had even taken a full 4 years of high school Spanish. Since receiving the application, Bradshaw claims the company has made numerous attempts to reach Wilhelm.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight it's Ian, Melanie, and Darryl in the studio here with you, and we invite you also to shop with us. You can go to shop.freetalklive.com, enter Amazon through the links you'll find there. There's Amazon UK, Canada, and US. You just go into the right Amazon for you, and you can buy whatever it is that you want, and you get the same great Amazon prices that you're used to, the same huge selection from Amazon that you're used to. It's the same Amazon experience. You're just entering through our affiliate link, so Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. Very simple. Get your shopping started over at shop.freetalklive.com. Shop, LRN.freetalklive.com. Got a little bit more with John Cantlie here in just a moment, reporting from Iraq on some of the destruction that was ostensibly caused by the U.S. government's attacks. But first, we're going back to your phone calls and thoughts. We'll go to Skype, where we've got Alex on the line. Alex, where are you calling from tonight?
Florida.
Welcome. You're on the air on Free Talk Live.
All right, fantastic. So the first thing I wanted to bring up is these recent terror attacks are a perfect example of why we need to restrict immigration from Muslim countries and not allow them to come into the United States, and we need to destroy ISIS. And
well, hold on. Just stop right there, because there's a whole bunch that we can address right there in just those few words. So basically, you're calling for a police state in response to the terror attacks.
No, I'm calling for stricter border controls.
That means a police
those
state,
that are
right?
high-risk areas.
Well, I mean, to be fair, all immigration laws are not violations.
NAP is the non-aggression principle.
I can sympathize with them a lot more than most other laws, but having immigration, if you had immigration and nothing else, if you had immigration and nothing else, you wouldn't have a government. But immigration would not make it a police state. Because you can...
No. I'm not saying immigration would make it a police state.
Immigration
I'm saying
laws.
the control of immigration requires police to check the borders,
Yes.
and they're using police to check inside the United States. They've got internal checkpoints as well. You've got police
up
raiding
to 100 miles away from the border.
Beyond that, that's a myth. They can do it anywhere in the United States. Now they
can do
to
it 100 miles without justification.
They tend to do it within that 100-mile range, but according to the ACLU, that's just they can set them up wherever they darn well please. And their justification is terror, so they've got all the justification they need. And so, yeah, they've got to check people inside the United States, check people at the border. They're checking businesses. They're going in, holding business owners at gunpoint, checking through their files, raiding their business, arresting their employees. That's what you want to see happen, right? You want more of that, Alex?
No, but I do want, well, to a degree, right? I do
to
want...
what degree?
To the degree that if we know somebody wants to come into the United States from a country that it is mostly Muslim, that we restrict that to the degree that we stop actually fake fighting ISIS while we funnel weapons to them, and we stop fighting wars for Israel. That's sort of what
Well, you see, the thing you don't understand is, maybe you're just not processing it, is if you want to restrict people coming from somewhere, then you have to restrict everyone. Everyone has to be subject to vehicular searches, questioning on the side of the road.
Well, that's not true. You can have, and I'm not advocating this, but it is possible to have really strict borders and then leave the inside of the country alone. I'm not advocating that at all, but it is possible. So if you're,
that's not what they're doing, and that's not what anyone
the feds
would propose.
are doing now.
That's not what they would. Right, they're not doing it now, and no one's proposing that they scale back.
Well, Alex is proposing it.
No, he's not. Alex, are you proposing that they only be set up on borders?
Well, right now we have a current visa program and we have passports, and I was saying that we would not let people in from particular countries.
Well, right, but are you advocating immigration control for immigration, or are you advocating random searches of people currently inside the U.S. physically?
No, it would be restrictions on people coming in here or becoming citizens.
Okay,
yeah.
and I disagree with that, but I do feel like it is a different thing than, hey, there's a 7-Eleven down the street, let's go raid it for fun.
So
those are two different things.
Let me ask this question,
that, you would
Alex.
have to obtain a warrant.
Right.
Hold
right.
on. We know that the FISA courts rubber stamp every warrant that comes across their desk. But let me ask you this question, Alex. Are you proposing that there only be this militarized sort of force on the actual border between the U.S. and Canada and between the U.S. and Mexico? Or are you also wanting this force to cover every inch of all of the beaches where technically the beach is the border?
Right.
Well, certainly, right? But to a degree, you'd have security. But most people who come over here from those countries are crossing the ocean. So they're either at the airports or at the port, just the ports where boats are coming in. That's where you would focus mostly on in and out of the country, along with securing the actual landlocked border. And yes, you could have something like if you thought somebody was an illegal immigrant, you would go to a warrant, go get a warrant and then go search that person's house. I don't see why you would be going into businesses. I don't.
Because
that's
what they do now.
And because it's easier to get a warrant on a business than it is in the house.
Well, I mean, most of the immigration laws enforced right now are like illegal immigrants coming for work, correct? Not Muslim.
What do you mean enforced?
Potential exchange.
Well, when they do these things and they go, bust down the doors
they're looking for
a
Hispanics.
restaurant, they're looking for people that either cross the border without any kind of paperwork, or people that crossed the border, had all their papers in line, but then they stayed an extra day.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is every country in the Middle East plus Indonesia, the Philippines, and most North African countries, you don't think anybody from those countries should be allowed at all into the United States, not even as a tourist?
Well, yeah. That's actually what I'm advocating now. Particularly Trump has a more moderate approach to that, right? So he's going to have some sort of vetting process, which I just generally don't trust that even if you had, made it increasingly difficult for them to come in, that the state would be able to actually vet people accurately. So it's better just to keep them out.
Well, but I don't trust the state to do any of it. And I understand, because the problem that I have here is immigration control, or really basically any law, generally speaking, but immigration control definitely violates the rights of people, because you don't have a right to tell somebody you can't be on this unowned land, or you can't be on this private land where the private owner said you can be. But there are actual practical concerns of, we're just going to let every culture, of every ideology, of anything come in, especially in the presence of the welfare state, but just even ignore that for a second. Like, to come in and, that's a problem. I'm really sympathetic to the fact that that's a problem, and it's a problem that I don't have a solution to.
What's the problem with having people come to a place where they can be more free? I don't see what the problem is there.
I just want to respond to her thing. All common land is basically owned by the taxpayers, because they're the only ones that could be necessarily said to be the rightful owners of it. So if we vote and create a some sort of more strict immigration policy and whatnot, is perfectly within our property rights.
Yeah, see, the thing you're going to miss here is that if you try to control others, eventually you're going to find yourself controlled. Thanks for the call, Alex. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
ProPure water filters, making water great again. Taste and feel the difference with state-of-the-art filter technology. Pro 1 G2.0 and Pro Max filters are independent lab-tested to NSF standards. Choose from Gravity, Countertop, Pitcher, Shower, and Inline filtration products. There's a ProPure for you. Buy risk-free today. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details, or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This year, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is $11 higher at $1,315 per ounce, and silver is 45 cents higher at $19.29 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $607 US. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage have been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free to join us on the radio here. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And Skype in to the show. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. So we'll continue with your calls here in a moment. But I wanted to continue. I don't know what that is. I guess the board up played a little more music there for us. Anyway. It's Ian, Melanie, and Darryl in the studio here tonight. We just got off the line with Alex calling from Florida, who had what I consider to be a very disturbing idea. He wants to restrict people who live in Muslim countries, predominantly Muslim countries, from being able to immigrate into the United States.
That means, in theory, he wants to prevent the Christians in those countries from being able to leave those countries.
And come here.
Presumably, he wants to prevent the people that are trying to flee the bombs of the United States military from leaving that area to come here to get away from said bombs.
That's correct. And as I pointed out right at the end of the segment, is if he wants to control other people like this, and he's come up with some sort of plan of how he thinks it should work, then the way sort of the universe works is if you try to control others, you will end up finding yourself controlled. You won't get to make this program. You, Alex, in Florida, or anybody else who has this grandiose idea of restricting Muslim immigration to this country, you don't get to set the rules. The bureaucrats who run this program aren't going to come to you to ask you how you think the program should be set up. So even if you think that it should only be the police state on the border and that it shouldn't be internal inside the United States, well, sorry, they've already got a police state going on inside the United States for immigration purposes. They're, raiding businesses, as we pointed out. They've got internal checkpoints at various different points throughout the southern and even the northern United States near the border, like within 100 miles typically. So they've got all of those things today. They're certainly not going to shut that down. And further, even if they didn't have those things and you were able to get their, whatever government program through where people from predominantly Muslim countries were not allowed to come in at all to the United States, even if you did actually get the program created in the way that you wanted, you wouldn't get to administer it. So over time, it will, have mission creep or whatever you call it, where essentially they continue to get bigger, they continue to be more invasive into our lives. So even though it started at the borders, then it expands outside of the borders. Well, we got to do something about the Muslims in the United States. There's already a bunch of them here. We got to go after them now. We need more task forces and government agents and so on and so forth.
Not to mention that people that are really, really insistent on getting into the United States from one of these countries that would be blocked off, well, they'll just buy a fake passport from a country where they are allowed to come into the United States.
Or move to that country first and then come from there, fly in from there after getting citizenship in that country. You're right. Anybody who's got the dedication to want to actually do some damage is going to jump through whatever
citizenship is very costly and time-consuming. It's a heck
easier
of a
to get
lot
a fake passport.
Cheaper and easier to get a fake passport from somewhere.
Yeah, but, I guess the fake passport would have to be machine readable, right? It would have to actually connect to some sort of database entry, because now they can scan the passports and pull up people's information. So in order to have a proper,
still not going
does
to
every
take
country have that though? So like if I have
I don't know.
I'm thinking probably not, because I'm thinking if I have a passport from Somalia, which is a country, that they probably don't have the tech to be uploading that. Or if I have a passport from Zimbabwe, they probably don't have that kind of integrated system.
I don't know.
So
that's a good question.
I kind of doubt it.
But again, you're talking several hundred or maybe $1,000 or two to get a really good fake passport, whereas citizenship in a country is going to take you years and tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, and of course, it may also be easier to just sneak across the border. As you were pointing out, Darryl,
yes.
Are they going to be building a big fence along the western and eastern seaboards in the United States? Are they going to have military positioned, every so many 100 feet along the beach just to make sure that nobody's just, rowing up in a dinghy and getting out?
Right, and, even with the so-called almost open border between Cuba and the U.S. to where there's the wet foot, dry foot rule, where if you come from Cuba and you land on U.S. soil and you are, deemed to then have dry feet, you get to stay. But the Coast Guard does patrol the waters between Florida and Cuba, looking for people in rafts to turn them away. So, if Alex gets his way, the Coast Guard will just be patrolling everywhere, looking for anything.
That'd be a much bigger Coast Guard in that case, right? They'd have to, quintuple their size or something like that. They'd have to have a lot more Coast Guard bureaucrats and boats, and that'd be a big budget increase for them. I bet those bureaucrats would be really happy about that.
And then, even if you were able to get Congress to introduce something, they would probably not write up all of the regulations themselves, and they would leave it up to the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, who would then probably, farm that out to some contractor somewhere that's like, oh, well, we can make this product and this, and we'll put it in the rules that they have to have these.
Because, again, you're talking about people who are motivated by the killings of their family members and friends and loved ones in the country they're from in the Middle East. They may have had their entire family exterminated by the dropping of U.S. bombs. And so if that's the case, if their business has been ruined, if their family has been destroyed, they have nothing left to live for. They will spend their full time dedicated to whatever it is they need to accomplish to infiltrate the United States.
That kind of sounds like a really good reason why someone would be reluctant to have those people here. And look, immigration laws, because they're laws, are not violations, period.
NAP is the non-aggression principle.
So, but just because there's not a good solution or a solution that I'm aware of, maybe somebody smarter than me has a solution somewhere, I don't know, but just because there's not a solution, assuming that there isn't one, because I haven't thought of one, doesn't mean that, it's not a problem. There's still legitimate concerns here. I mean, importing one culture into another culture, then you destroy what was, one of them will be destroyed, or both.
That's not true at all. I mean, there's plenty of examples of people from a variety of different cultures around the world coming to the United States and existing on their own. There's, Chinatown and all kinds of ethnic...
Little Italy.
Yeah, places where people have gathered, and they speak their own language there. Some people are bilingual in those communities, but some of them don't speak any other language besides their native-born language, and they get along just fine.
But are these cultures? And look, and also
that hasn't the fact that Chinatown exists hasn't turned everyone Chinese. It hasn't taken the white Christian Anglo-Saxons and converted them to communism. You know what I mean? Like that hasn't happened.
Well,
so
okay, but
I don't think there's a problem with having multiple cultures in one landmass.
Well, it depends on the culture. Because if they're cultures that want to kill each other, there are. If they're cultures whose values are incompatible, I don't know that these people from China are incompatible with, I guess, Western values. But
it sounds like you're almost. It sounds like you are almost in agreement with our caller about these concerns that something
I agree that
must
there's
be
concerns.
done.
I don't agree with his solution.
Well, what's your solution?
I don't have one, but that doesn't make it not a problem.
Well, I've got a solution. How about the U.S. government end its involvement in the Middle East, close down all the military bases and bring the troops home? That would be step one towards making things better out there. It's probably not going to solve all the problems.
I definitely agree. We should stop bombing, or the state should stop bombing people, and that would greatly alleviate the problem. But if you're bringing in a bunch of people who have values that are incompatible with yours, I mean, moving a migration of ideology to a specific place will change that place. I mean, what is the FSP? You signed
the
to
Free
FSP.
State Project is what you mean by that. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean...
It's a migration of libertarians coming to the same geographic area.
To change it.
Yeah, that's right.
To make it more free. But your mention of the Chinese, well, the very first laws on immigration in the United States were called the Chinese Exclusion Act because there were some racists that were afraid of the Chinese coming here to change the culture of America.
Our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive.
It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio waves here. Take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Skype username is LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Darryl.
Talking about a disturbing idea from someone who called in earlier. He was advocating for restrictions against people traveling to the United States from predominantly Muslim countries, saying they should be forbidden, that those people should not be allowed to come here. And I say that is a very disturbing concept, because ultimately it will only allow more people inside the United States to be controlled. I don't think people anywhere in the world should be restricted from coming to the United States. If they want to come here and make a better life for themselves, they should be able to do that. And predominantly, that's who comes over here. If there were a bunch of terrorists who were filtering into this country, we'd have a whole lot more terror attacks.
They don't have to be. I'm not saying it. I mean, I guess he.
I'm not
was
saying you're saying
that,
what he was saying.
Even if they're not terrorists, it can still be a problem. I mean, when you move, and no, like, everybody who's from a culture isn't part of that culture. I'm from the prison capital. I'm an anarchist. Not everybody who is from a specific place is a part of the culture of where they're from.
Many people are trying to escape that place because it's terrible and they want more freedom.
The fact that that's what culture there is, even if there's somebody who is trying to be better, they're still going to bring a lot of baggage with them, even if they're actively trying not to. But it's still...
Everybody's got their baggage.
Right,
so
but you're acting like there's no concern whatsoever. I mean, if you
think... No, I'm not concerned, because I'd rather take a risk of, whatever it is that happens, than have a police state.
Well, right, and I'm against immigration control, but that doesn't mean that there's no concerns or that there's no concern here. It's not like magically safe and good just because there's no good way to solve it. I mean, and there's even...
Solve what?
The
people coming with different values from you?
Well, okay, so if you think that a bunch of anarchists can move to New Hampshire and make New Hampshire a better place, change New Hampshire and change the values that exist...
No, I don't think that can happen unless you can influence the people who are already here. So no. I mean, we don't have enough liberty-minded people to force a change upon anyone. We're going to have to persuade people to change.
And we're actively doing that. So we're coming into an existing culture with our values and going to the people in there and actively encouraging them to change to all our values and actively encouraging people outside with our values to move here. The fact that someone else has different, it works the same way regardless of what the values are. If they're good values, if they're anarchist values, if they're bad values, if they're...
And there are some people who would love to kick us out of New Hampshire.
There are, and that makes sense if you're a statist. If you're a statist, you wouldn't want a bunch of anarchists coming into your, quote, territory.
Right.
and that doesn't mean it's okay to stop it. Like, but it's
so why is it different when it's not people moving from Alabama, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida to New Hampshire? Why is it different when it's people moving from Europe to California?
It's not different.
Then
so
why,
what's the problem?
Then why are you saying that there's a problem when you're saying...
It depends on what culture you're importing, because when you import people, you import, and an individual might not have that specific culture, but they still have... I mean, and even I see, stuff in myself where it's like, yeah, I can understand why somebody from New Hampshire, a place with, like, almost no crime, negligible violent crime, where, everything's good, and the cops, for the most part, as, compared to other cops, don't harass you, I can understand why they wouldn't want me here. That doesn't mean they get to kick me out, and that doesn't mean I get to kick Muslims out, but I could understand why that's, because even though I, like, actively go out of my way to, like, intentionally be like, hey, I'm an anarchist, I'm gonna do this, like...
A lot of the people who are upset, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but they'll say, like, well, there's all these people from socialist countries coming here, and they're going to vote for bigger government. Is that the concern? Is that what you're talking about here with the
that's not my main concern, because that would kind of up in the air whether elections are real, but...
Well, then what is it you're worried about exactly? Because that's usually the big fear is we got to stop people from coming here and voting Democrat.
I mean, I'm more worried about the culture they're importing, because if they're
when you say culture, what is it specifically you are concerned with?
They're different from us.
But I want to know exactly what it is that you're concerned with.
I mean, because if they have a culture where,
where a man can marry more than one woman, they raise their kids different. Like, what is it specifically about this other culture? Because there's a lot of cultures just within the United States.
So there's a lot of them. So depending on whether it's good or bad, which I understand is subjective.
Well, yeah, they think their culture's good. You may not. Well, that's okay.
Okay, but then if we're going to bring it here, then... it would matter.
So hold on. Let's touch on these things one at a time. You mentioned marrying multiple spouses, so polygamy or polyamory. Well, in 1903, polygamists were added to the exclusion list of who's prohibited from immigrating to the United States. And I don't think that has been repealed. So if they were going to come here and infect everybody with their polygamy. Right. So if the claim is, we have to keep polygamists out, well, they're already banned. So is it polygamist or is there something else with the culture?
I mean,
that's
not...
And I know you're an atheist, but you were raised in like a Christian denomination thing. So is it that they call their God something different than what you called your God when you were younger?
No, but it's not. And it's.
Is there something specific about someone else's culture that is bothersome to you that they could come here with it?
I mean, and in most Islamic Middle Eastern countries, and I don't even think it's necessarily religion, because people have this tendency to interpret what their God said to be peaceful if they're kind of in a first world country, and to be really violent if they're kind of in a place where it sucks.
Seems like oversimplification.
Well,
probably
yeah,
not true.
But it's a generalization. Because a lot of Muslims here interpret the Quran to be peaceful, whereas a lot of Muslims in the Middle East do the opposite.
Well, I mean,
and I don't think
that's
because of Islam. I think that's because of where they are.
Have you met a lot of them?
There's a lot of Christians in the United States that think that Jesus wants them to bomb people around the world. So it's not just, people that live in places that suck or violent and blame it on religion.
Okay, yeah, but if
But now you're talking about your opinion about Muslims in the Middle East without, honestly, you probably don't know many of them, right? Like, you probably never met
people in the Middle East.
Yeah,
no,
you
but
probably never
I have a general idea of what countries in the Middle East are like, and they're horrible. They have horrible human rights violations, even worse than a lot of the ones in the States.
But that doesn't mean that the people of those countries are horrible or that they are,
if you have an
supportive.
entire culture where people are doing horrible things, then by definition, most but not all of the people in that place are horrible.
That's not
Okay,
fair at
so
all.
hold on. We should not let anybody leave the inner city because the inner city is by and large a horrible place?
No, and I'm not advocating not allowing travel at all, but it is, there are issues that go along with this, and you're acting like, I feel like you're both acting like they don't exist.
No, we're not
There's-
acting like that.
asking you
We're
what the issue
acknowledging
is.
that there are horrible things that happen. There are horrible things that happen in Detroit. There are horrible things that happen in Chicago. There are horrible things that happen in
Right, but
Baghdad.
you're not acknowledging that there could be any issues with taking someone from a horrible place and putting them
I'm
somewhere
not advocating
else.
taking anyone from anywhere. I'm advocating letting people leave of their own accord and go where they want to.
Yeah, why shouldn't someone
as
be able
long
to-
as they are not violating somebody else's rights?
They should be, and I'm not advocating stopping them.
Well,
I'm just
you're just
stating that
advocating
they're-
fear of people from other places? I mean, because they live in a horrible place ruled by some warlord or dictator?
You don't think that has any psychological effect on the person?
Yeah, it might make them want to leave. You know, like, oh my God, this place is terrible. This dictator's horrible.
You don't
I'm
think
going
that
to get out of
you
here.
don't think that me living in Louisiana made me any psychologically different at all than if I had grown up in Keene?
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, you came here and you were angry at the police, just like I was when I moved here, and you've mellowed
I
out.
calmed down a lot
and
by
you've
the time
mellowed
I
out
got
since
here.
then. You haven't even been here for a year. You know, like
Right,
I
but
mean,
there's still okay. So like,
people assimilate to some extent into the
I think it
places
was like
where
last
they go.
November, December, when the guy who threw the eggs. And what did I say to do on Telegram? I was very adamant about the fact that, or about the position that we should call the state.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm an anarchist and I believe in the non-aggression principle, which that would have been offensive force, but that doesn't. I think that was colored a lot by where I came from, because if you, and
that's okay.
Honestly,
It's
now
okay to be-
I think that I'm not even saying I was necessarily wrong. I might
Just
have been.
because
I might
someone
not have
comes
been.
from the land of a tyrant doesn't mean that they're wanting to be a tyrant of themselves, on their own. 855-450 free. We can pick up the culture conversation coming up here in hour 3, and you can join us.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more.
It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, September 19th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,315 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $611. Antiwar.com reports an oil tanker at the Libyan oil port of Ras Lanouf has been forced to flee into the water to avoid being caught up in heavy fighting over the weekend as a pair of ports were attacked by forces loyal to the Libyan Unity government aiming to reclaim the ports. These oil ports have been under the control of the Unity's Government Petroleum Facilities Guard, PFG, until last weekend when General Khalifa Haftar's forces loyal to the rival Tobruk parliament attacked and captured the important oil ports. The PFG is meant to defend facilities from being overrun like this, but many of them had been repurposed by the Unity government into a makeshift offensive force which has been trying to capture the city of Sirte from the Islamic State. Short-handed, the Guard was unable to fend off the well-armed Libyan National Army for very long, and while the international community is urging Haftar to cede the ports back, so far he's refused to do so, and his forces managed to repel this weekend's counter-offensive. The fighting further reduces the amount of oil Libya is able to export, adding to economic struggles that have been constant since the NATO-imposed regime change, and no faction seems to be able to control the entire oil apparatus for any measurable span of time. Are you an advocate for free market money? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports 4 Abu Sayyaf hostages, including a Norwegian man who had been held for almost a year, were freed over the weekend. Jartan Sekingstad was retrieved from the southwestern Philippine city of Jolo by Secretary Jesus de Ruza, an advisor who works as a liaison with Muslim and communist insurgents on the peace process. Military officials said Sekingstad and the Indonesians were flown Sunday to meet Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte in Davao City. Sekingstad was among 4 abducted in September 2015 from the southern Philippines resort. 2 of those abducted were beheaded and a third was freed earlier in the year, according to the Wall Street Journal. Also released were 3 Indonesian hostages from 2 locations in Luuk Municipality and Sulu Province, according to the Sulu Philippine National Police. CNN Philippines reported that they were identified by police as Lawrence Coten, Theodoros Kofang, and Emmanuel Arakian. While there were rumors the victims were released after paying 20 million in Philippine pesos, the equivalent of $42 million US, officials said they were unaware of any ransom being paid in exchange for the release of the captives. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is not expected to attend the trial this week of 2 former associates charged in the 2013 Bridgegate scandal, but the failed Republican presidential hopeful's shadow will loom over the proceedings. Opening statements are scheduled for Monday in federal court in Newark, New Jersey. Bill Baroni and Bridget Ann Kelly are charged with conspiracy and fraud in a 9-count indictment alleging they arranged lane closings that caused gridlock on the heavily traveled George Washington Bridge. The resulting traffic delayed commuters for hours and left emergency vehicles slow in responding to 911 calls. Prosecutors said the 2 defendants planned the lane closures to take revenge on a mayor who refused to endorse Christie for re-election. The governor, at one time a leading Republican presidential hopeful, has not been charged in the scandal that nevertheless helped torpedo his hopes for nomination to the White House in 2016. In the 3 years since the scandal broke, Christie has repeatedly denied any knowledge of the plan to disrupt traffic on the world's busiest road, despite speculation to the contrary. The trial could finally provide a definitive answer to the question of whether he knew about the alleged plot, and if so, when. The George Washington Bridge carries more than 250,000 vehicles a day across the Hudson River between New Jersey and Manhattan. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Seniors thunder into a local high school parking lot like coalition forces entering Baghdad. A substitute teacher just needs to make it to her car before breaking down in tears. And a college freshman tells his roommate there's no need to hide his masturbation from him. And now a week in review that truly requires no introduction. The nation's students announced this week that they have reluctantly agreed to give the American education system yet another chance, saying they hope educators keep their promises of smaller class size, better school supplies, and intensified efforts to raise the country's international math ranking. The nation's students vowed to give the education system one more shot, despite claiming to have been burned many, many times in the past. In other news, a man overcomes alcoholism without the help of Jesus, and an outcast student and a lonely teacher have begun a somewhat endearing sexual relationship. And that was a free lesson in top-shelf journalism. For more news, videos, and reminders of your insignificance, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want. We're launching into the third hour of the program. I want to talk more about this idea of cultures mixing, clashing, fears surrounding all that. That's one of the things we were discussing toward the end of hour number 2. We'll get back into that. It's Ian, Melanie, and Darryl in the studio, but I want to get to your phone calls as well. Folks have been waiting patiently, so let's go to the phones and the fun. First up, we'll talk to Will, listening in Lake Isabella, Arizona, to, I believe, K-Talks. Hello, Will.
Hi,
hey.
Will. Let's see. There are a lot of issues. First of all, I was hearing about the anarchist band. Yeah, if you want mayhem and destruction, you want to be an anarchist, and that is bad because, it's destructive.
Well, I don't want to be an anarchist. I am an anarchist.
Yeah, that's bad.
No, it's not bad. What now? Look, maybe you've
missed. You kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, not everybody who's an anarchist. Not everybody who's an anarchist supports destruction. In fact, many anarchists are peaceful individuals who would. Huh?
So, what's the definition of anarchist?
Well, I'll let Melanie take that one because I don't use the term for myself. So go ahead, Melanie.
Okay, so an anarchist, a lot of people would define it as somebody who doesn't believe in the existence or doesn't believe that there should be a government. And I feel like that's accurate enough, but I would go so far as to say that an anarchist is somebody who does not believe in the initiation of force, threats of force, or fraud, because if you do any of those things, my argument is that you are a government.
Okay, these things are in place to support you, not to, but of course, there is the
what
people
things?
who have gone beyond their limit and have caused trouble. I do believe that that's where we're going, into where the fact that they're going beyond their bonds. The
I can't understand what you're saying. I don't know if you got a bad phone or something like that. Are you talking right into your receiver?
Possibly, yeah.
What were you saying in there about? I couldn't really quite make it out.
Well, okay. As far as religions are the stable, it makes a people stable. It sets their course.
So what, you've gone from talking about
stable?
You've gone from talking about anarchism to religion?
Yeah. Well, okay. See, anarchism. The reason they say that, or she is saying that they don't like government, but the reason that government is there, or even religion, is to stabilize. And,
no, that's not true. The reason the government is there is to extract wealth and resources from people and to force them into obedience.
That is not the original purpose of.
Well, that's a load of crap.
I think it is the original purpose, but even if it wasn't the original purpose is irrelevant. What is relevant is what is going on right now, and right now that is not what's going on.
Well, no, if you are talking government, then it is relative, because that is the start, and even religion. That is the basis, that it is the stabilization of people all over.
Well, if by stabilization you mean controlling them.
Stabilization.
Thank you for the call tonight, Will. I can't handle your phone at this point. But if what you're referring to is by stabilizing people, you mean like, making it so they don't rise up and overthrow the people who want to control them, then yeah, okay. A lot of religion was created for the purpose of controlling
And a lot of
other
religion
people.
was, in early days, intertwined with government.
That's correct. So again, both of these institutions are ways of controlling people, and to suggest that governments were made initially with some sort of grandiose idea of like helping people is ridiculous. I mean, government from time immemorial has always been not of the people, but by the elites for the control of the people, for the benefit of the elites, so they can extract wealth and resources and obedience from us. That's what governments have always been. I mean, I'm sorry, is there an exception to that? Because I'm not aware of it.
Nor am I.
Yeah, toll-free number tonight's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's continue. T is calling from Cleveland. You're on Free Talk Live, listening online. Hey, T.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I really kind of enjoyed trying to sift my way through the last caller. No disrespect to him, of course, but it's ironic that he kind of talks about religion a little bit and anarchism being bad, but yet not really saying how anarchism is bad. Myself, I'm a Christian anarchist.
Okay.
I believe that Jesus Christ was an anarchist, and I would have a really hard time arguing with you that point. But I guess the reason I wanted to call was before the commercial, you were talking about Islamic countries bringing people into the United States, and I think both of you had really good counterpoints. I'm not against Islamic people coming here. I don't think that the state should compel them not to. However, I think that what's the young lady's name who's on the call?
Melanie.
Melanie, I think you did a really good job expressing the fact that you had a concern of what problems could be caused. You weren't saying that you wanted the state to step in and do anything, but not to have any concern is kind of like not having a fire extinguisher.
Right, and I mean, what I would advocate, if anything, would be to like recognize reality. I mean, I see things in myself, and like moving from Louisiana to New Hampshire is negligible compared to moving from a third world, I don't know if I can say that, horrible place to the States. But even in myself, I can see things to where I'm doing things not even intentionally. The example I was trying to give was, the way I reacted to that was in part, and I mean, I'm not trying to deflect responsibility for this at all, and I'm not even sure I was wrong, in part because I came from a place where that's what you had to do. So if you have people come in from places where they have to do way worse stuff than that, I mean, I can completely see why somebody who is a native from New Hampshire where nothing ever happens come up to me and be like, what is wrong with you? Like, just wash your car and go on with your life. Like, nothing bad's going to happen, like, because nothing ever happens in their mindset, because that they live in a place where nothing ever happens.
Right.
So even if and I am like intentionally trying to assimilate. I'm not even like, oh, well, New Hampshire has a better economy. Like, I am intentionally trying to assimilate to a better place. And that's not going to be true of everybody. It's going to be true of some people.
But what's the point of worrying about that? I mean, I understand. I mean, you can create resources for people to allow them to learn.
But you would only do that if you were worried about it. If you're like, everybody's going to be okay, you wouldn't create those resources.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so there's a difference between worrying and doing something about a perceived problem. I don't think there's any point in really being concerned with what people might do. If indeed there is a problem, then you can work towards solving that problem. But, being worried about it is like being based in fear, and being based in fear is what leads people
it doesn't even have to be
turn
fear.
to the government.
Okay, so, like, I lock my car.
Go ahead, T.
Well, my thing is, I'm listening to you guys talk back and forth, and she's saying, hey, I have fear, but you're almost treating her like a fearmonger, when she hasn't said that her fear hasn't guided her to start preparation. For example, if a Muslim family moved next to my family, I'm pretty familiar with their book. I know that Islamic families, beat their children 10 times more than any other faith. And, that kind of behavior, I don't want my child to be surrounded by. So am I going to worry? Yes. is that worry going to cause me to take action to appropriately put a positive environment for my child's growth? Then sure. But you can't just say, oh, go ahead and play with the Muslim kid. I don't think anything's going to be a problem because, that's not the definition of an anarchist. An anarchist, as an anarchist, you have total responsibility for your family and your decisions. You're not passing that buck on to somebody else unless you have a contract. So the government doesn't protect you from these bad decisions we can make. So you almost have to be more careful and worry more, but that worry has to be taken into action. And I think
or you could just sit down with the new neighbors, meet them, talk to them, hang out with them, and then let your kids hang out with them if you thought it was cool. I don't think there's really that much to be concerned about there, T. Thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Join us on the radio waves here. You can bring up anything you want. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight in studio, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
Don't forget to check out Darryl's website. It's libertylobby.xyz. Never seen anyone with a .xyz. Yours is the first that I'd ever come across, and
it's actually, I think, the third most popular. It's one of the top 5 most popular extensions now.
Wow, that's interesting. So Liberty Lobby, though, is the most important part of it. libertylobby.xyz. That's your plan that you're putting into action to be a libertarian or a voluntarist, principled lobbyist, somebody who's going to go and talk to the state house here in Concord, New Hampshire,
yes,
on a regular basis, which you've been doing for the last 2 years, just sort of on your own dime.
3, actually.
Yep, and you've made a lot of connections already. There's a lot of state representatives who know who you are and they respect you, and that you're very knowledgeable on a number of different subjects that they are covering from time to time. And so you've been doing it just sort of on your own dime. You've been having to take time off of work, which is how you get paid.
Yes.
Working for Free Talk Live is one of the several things that you do. And it would be nice if you could actually get some money in from supporters who want to see you do this kind of work. There's a lot of video of your efforts at the State House that we've put online over at freekeen.com. So, I mean, people who want to can go and see the kind of work that you've already been doing.
Yes.
And if they want to get behind you, they can do it for a monthly, $5 a month, $10 a month?
Whatever they want to donate per month. I would like to have people donating, $5 or $10 a month, or they can do one-time contributions if they want.
Yeah.
But the recurring contributions do make it easier. That way I'm not constantly in fundraising mode. And right now I'm at about 15% of the monthly goal with recurring payments. And yeah, I'm hoping to raise about $5,000 a year, which breaks down to just over $400 a month, which is very cheap for a lobbyist. And I had a question about a week and a half ago where somebody asked if I was a lobbyist for hire. And no, I'm not a lobbyist for hire. So if, Berkshire Hathaway or, some corporation comes and says, we want to give you $500,000 to testify on fill in the blank, I will say, no, I'm not a lobbyist for hire. I lobby for liberty, consistent liberty, 100%, every issue, every time.
Principled positions.
Yes.
Advocating for maximum liberty, not some, half-ass compromise.
Correct.
So if that's exciting to you, check out libertylobby.xyz. You can get behind Darryl there with, PayPal, also Bitcoin.
Yes.
Anything else? Cut you a check?
Yes, they can cut a check.
All right,
the
cool.
address is on the website.
libertylobby.xyz. As we continue with your calls and your thoughts, let's talk to David calling from New Mexico on via Skype. Hello, David.
Hey, guys. Let me see if I can get through with whatever time you give me. A couple of things on my checklist I wanted to talk about. Oh, did I hear, is it just my dirty mind, or was this intended? Yesterday you were talking about Gary Johnson. I think you phrased it a significant blow to Johnson. Was that intentional?
Not really, but I realized what I was saying as it was coming out of my mouth. So, yeah.
And some of the stuff that's been put out, I don't know if it's been officially by the Johnson campaign or just by his supporters, but they are making those sort of jokes of, you felt the burn, now feel the Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they should, because it works. I mean,
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be enough to get him into the debates, but, they should do it.
He's not been invited to the first debate.
That's correct.
And probably will not be invited to the second or third either.
I suspect you're right about that.
Yeah, that was on my checklist, too. I heard Nader talking on Democracy Now! Did any of you guys pick that up, hear that today?
No. I don't watch that show.
Yeah, no, I don't watch it either. I just listen on the radio. I listen to everybody. I don't discriminate. But anyway, I just heard him, and he was talking about the the corporate debate system that we have. I'm sure I don't need to. You're on board with the debate system is basically crooked, and I was reaffirmed by hearing Nader suggest something that I've been suggesting for years. It was on my checklist to share with you, and I'm sure you thought of it already yourselves anyway, but it was a national debate system other than the ones that they're using. It would be so easy to do, and Nader was suggesting that, but like I said, I'm sure a lot of people came up with that idea.
What's the national debate system?
Well,
that's anything but this one.
That's just Yeah, anything but this one. It would be so easy to do. I mean, you could even do it as a reality show. You can do everything else as a reality show if you wanted to get pop attention, because otherwise nobody's interested. But if you wanted to do it on a serious side, it's so easy to just invite whoever wants to debate or whoever's friends force them to do it. I.e., draft them the way our politicians. Our politicians really shouldn't.
If you would just invite everybody that was constitutionally eligible and on enough ballots to where they could theoretically win the presidency, then this year you would invite 5 candidates. It would be Donald, Hillary, Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, and Darryl Castle. And the Republicans had, I think it was at least 8 debates with more than 7 candidates in the primary season. So, it's not unheard of to have 5 people on a debate stage.
But I like what David's saying here is that some other organization besides the Commission on Presidential Debates should come up with some very attractive debates, because we know that the CPD, the Commission on Presidential Debates, disallows its participants from participating in any other debates.
Correct.
So if there could be some national level debates that are very, very, high visibility, you're going to be on all these channels or whatever. Oh, you mean
like the debate that Free and Equal put on 4 years ago that was broadcast on Russia Today and C-SPAN and
those aren't big venues.
Russia Today is broadcast to 700 million households around the world. That's pretty big.
But probably not that many of them are in the United States. I'm not saying Russia Today is a small news organization by any means.
My point is they had 12 media outlets broadcasting this debate 4 years ago.
But not any of the big
But it wasn't the ones that they wanted to be
right,
on
because
or needed
Fox
to be on.
and CNN and NBC, they're not going to broadcast something because they've got agreements with the CPD that they're corporate partners of the CPD and they can't broadcast
right. That's what I'm
debate.
saying is they would have to create something outside of the CPD that would be bigger than whatever the CPD could put together, which would, as you're saying, require them to likely break their agreement or end their agreement with the CPD.
Right, and something that most people aren't aware of when the the Commission for Presidential Debates came about in the mid to late 80s.
It's probably a corporation, too.
It is, but they had asked the League of Women Voters to come on board because the League of Women Voters had held the presidential debates prior to that, and the president of the League of Women Voters said that she would not be part of the fraud perpetuated on the American people.
Hey, David, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. You can get to the next issue tomorrow if you like. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still plenty of time for you, should you wish to join us. Now, of course, most of these big media conglomerates are way too chicken to do anything like break their current agreement with the CPD and strike out on their own and create something better, because they there's the chance that nobody would come to their debate and then they'd be on the outs with the CPD and they wouldn't have a chance to cover any of theirs. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
On the second Saturday of every month, the Texas Republic Congress meets in a joint session. To learn how you can attend or become a member of Congress, visit thetexasrepublic.com. And together, we can liberate Texas.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
What is your goal? What do you want of this revolution that you speak of?
You got to stir things up enough for the people will actually revolt in a big way.
And what will that result in?
Millions of people in the streets, you know, and the military guys ain't going to like it.
So what is your goal? You don't really know, do you? You don't really know what you want besides chaos.
A bloody revolution in the streets is
You want a bloody revolution? This is why I don't want to associate with people like you. Thank you for the call. You're dangerous and crazy, in my opinion, if you're talking about bloody revolution. Violent revolution just results in more violence in the future because the people who were the most violent are the ones that rise to power in whatever new power structure is created after the revolution's all over and done with, after the blood has spilt. Whoopee-doo, you've changed out one gang of criminals for another gang of thugs.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio waves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Darryl.
Don't forget to check out the Shire Society. You can sign the Shire Society Declaration anytime you want. You can do it on your own in the privacy of your own home, or you can do it publicly right there to be displayed on the website for anybody who looks at it. At ShireSociety.com, the Shire Society Declaration is something that was put together back in 2010 here in New Hampshire by a lot of liberty-oriented folks who wanted to have a personal declaration of independence. So it's basically your own declaration of independence, declaring you as independent from the state society that we are all sort of born into. And joining the voluntary Shire Society. Go learn more about it by visiting ShireSociety.com. As we continue, we'll take your calls about what's on your mind. Jimmy is on the line in Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy.
Fight those who believe not in Allah. Fight and slay the pagans wherever you find them, and seize them, beleaguer them, and lie in wait for them in every stratagem of war. Ian Bernard, there are millions and millions of peaceful Muslims, no doubt about it. I ain't worried a damn whit about them. There are also millions and millions of Islamists who go around chanting death to infidels, not because the United States of America has dropped any bombs on them, like in Syria, where the Islamic State in Syria is murdering fellow Muslims that aren't Sunni but are Shiite.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, nothing to do with America. It has to do with 1,300-year-old belief system that millions and millions of very dangerous young men take lots of things of person they actually believe is God's messenger that say to kill people that don't agree with them. You move anywhere east of Israel, Melanie, you move anywhere east of Israel, especially you being a woman, you'll have no freedom of speech, you have no freedom of religion, no freedom of association, no freedom to redress of government, and I could go on and on.
Well, right, yeah, the Middle East is a horrible place. I mean, it's a
and it's okay
horrible,
that you said that,
place.
by the way. I don't think you're racist for saying that. I don't think anything negatively of you for saying the exact thing. I agree with you. I didn't call to agree with you. I called to challenge Darryl W. Perry, who despicably just an hour ago said there were a lot of Christians that take the words of Jesus and want to slay non-believers. Really? I've known a lot of Christians in my lifetime. I've never known one that has ever dropped a bomb on somebody because they weren't Christian. And neither do you, Darryl Perry. And
I didn't say
no
that.
Such group.
I did not say that Christians took the words of Jesus to be violent. I said a lot of Christians are violent.
No,
there's a difference between those two things.
A lot of them are in the military, taking orders from politicians.
Who are they a lot? Who are the lot that you're talking about? Oh, in the military? Really?
Yeah.
There are people in the military that want to bomb people because they're not Christian? Name one.
Nobody said that.
No, name one.
Nobody
said
you
that.
Did.
Then what are you saying,
I didn't say
Bernard?
that.
No, you're putting a.
What is he saying, or what are you saying, Darryl?
James, you're putting an intention behind the reason that they're wanting to kill people. My statement and what Ian agreed with is there are a lot of people that call themselves Christians that want to kill people.
Thanks for the call, James. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. And if you are a Christian and you want to kill people, you're a terrible Christian because Jesus wouldn't have done that.
The new commandment given by the Messiah was love one another as I have loved you.
Including your enemy, right?
Yeah, he mentioned about, love your enemy a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But his final commandment, a new commandment, love one another as I have loved you. That doesn't mean go kill people because you think they might, wind up doing something at some point in the future. You don't preemptively attack people because what they might do.
Let's go to Parker. He's on the line calling from Washington, and Parker's on via Skype. Go ahead, Parker.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was looking on Google last night, and for whatever reason, I thought, it sort of seems as though the United States has sort of, it either already is similar to Nazi Germany, or it is becoming similar to Nazi Germany.
In what ways?
I can pull up this article real fast that I found, and I can read it to you verbatim. But essentially, for one thing, right off the top of my head, the Nazis did burn down their own parliament building. And though there's no definitive proof that the U.S. perpetrated 9/11, there's enough proof to say that 19 Arabs with box cutters, led by a diabetic man on dialysis, was not the perpetrator, or were not the perpetrators. So someone else was the perpetrator of 9/11.
Are you?
I don't think we have good evidence on 9/11 either way, but there is really good evidence, and the government has cops to it, that the feds have killed their own people in various, in the Tuskegee experiment, in Kent State, and various other places. So the feds definitely kill their own people.
They're willing to do that.
You don't really need 9/11 for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Give me 1 second, and I'll find that article real fast. But I mean, in addition to that, we have the divide and conquer, which is going on, where.
Well, that seems to be, every government around the globe tries to divide and conquer because that's how you keep people, fighting against each other instead of fighting against the rulers.
That's correct.
And how I like to explain it is Nazi Germany is not an example of particularly egregious government. Nazi Germany is an example of a government that got caught. The states have done everything that Germany did in the 40s. What would be really interesting for you to Google? Are you aware of Operation Paperclip?
I've heard of it. I can't remember.
Recap that for us. What is that?
It was where they brought the Nazi scientists from Germany here while the Soviets were trying to do the same thing because of the space race and because we wanted superior German technology and German scientific advancements over the Soviets.
Is that right?
Yeah, basically. So we were using we were essentially bringing in and not hiding, but protecting Nazis because we wanted the info.
Werner von Braun. There's buildings on the campus of University of Alabama, Huntsville, named after this guy. He was former Nazi, brought over, hired by NASA, and helped, send things up into space. Unless you believe in a flat Earth, in which space doesn't exist, and then that didn't happen. But there's still buildings named after this guy.
So we were directly entangled with Nazi Germany. We're not just similar to them. We are entangled.
I'm not entangled with them.
The feds. I need to get better at that. The feds were, at least at some point, entangled with Nazi Germany. I guess they're not anymore because there is no more Nazi Germany. But yeah, I've challenged statists and other people to this before. I have yet to have anybody tell me a thing that Nazi Germany did that the feds have not done.
The U.S. federal government has not actually put people in gas chambers in the millions.
Yeah, that's true.
We've mass killed people, though. I mean,
right, but not in gas chambers.
I believe that we could very easily be on the road to a new American Holocaust, though I don't have any definitive proof to back that up. I'm just it's a speculation.
I hope you're wrong about that, Parker. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE.
I hope he's wrong, but the talk of at least one of the presidential candidates about wanting to, sort of round up or exclude or send back or whatever certain groups of people, and people that are of Hispanic descent that might not be here legally. There could be something. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that is definitely if there would be a spark for what he's talking about, that would be the issue, and that's a really scary one. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-929-5733. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-929-5733. 1-800-929-5733.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Investment Rarities, a 43-year-old company, has created the best silver offer ever. Get a U.S. Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, Austrian Philharmonic, OPM Pure Bar, and Silver Round. Have all 5 for $99 post-paid. You heard me right, 5 ounces of silver below cost. No credit card fees, free shipping. Just $99 and you'll have a great start on what it takes to survive even the worst economic storm. Act now and receive Jim Cook's exclusive paper explaining how it's possible to make a fortune in silver today. Don't miss this opportunity. Call 800-328-1860. Read how the above-ground supply of silver has dropped below even gold. The secret is being suppressed. The price could explode at any time. Call today at 800-328-1860. Get 5 ounces of silver for only $99. Find them on the web at investmentrarities.com or call 800-328-1860. Call now before it's too late. 800-328-1860.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you to go this way? You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
You
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is $11 higher at $1,315 per ounce, and silver is 45 cents higher at $19.29 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $607 US. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage have been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here, but enough time for you if you join us right now. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you want to help out Free Talk Live and help yourself by saving big time on your purchases at Amazon, just go to saveitpurse.com. And what you do is go to saveatpurse.com. You do have to have Bitcoin to make this work, and it works well. I've been doing Purse for almost 2 years of my life, and it's pretty much the exclusive way that I'll shop at Amazon unless I need something super, super urgent.
But then you can still save 5% at Purse.
Yeah, I've never actually even tried that over at Purse. I was looking for it last night, and I couldn't find the option. I hope they still have that Purse Instant. I know they changed the name of it from Purse Instant to something else within the last several months, and I don't know if they've retained it.
I'm on the site right now leaving feedback for an order that I had placed and forgot to leave feedback on. But yeah, I believe it's on the just front page where instead of where you put in the link for your wish list, you would just put in the link for the item.
Oh.
And then add it to your cart.
See, I've never tried that before.
I've used it, and there is another catch there. So if it's a low-priced item, to where your final price would be below $10 US,
you got to have more items.
You can't do the instant.
Gotcha. So it's great, though. Generally, you can save big time. I just saved 15%. I needed a couple of VGA cables for various different computer work that is going on here, and got them at a good price. Save 15% by going to saveatpurse.com. Saveatpurse.com. But that was something where I had to add another cable in just to make the total more than $10
right.
Before it would ingest the order, which is okay with me. I mean, one more cable doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. And again, check out saveatpurse.com. Make sure you've got Bitcoin, though, because if you don't have Bitcoin, you don't get those discounts. You don't get the huge savings, and you get to choose your level of savings. So I chose 15% because I wanted to get the cables relatively soon, and the order was placed within the same day, within the same afternoon. If I'd chosen like 20 or 25%, it might not have been for a couple days before the order got placed.
Yeah, I had 2 orders last week, 14% and 17%, both picked up within just a couple of hours.
Nice. Saveatpurse.com. Saveatpurse.com as we continue with your calls and thoughts. We got Ricky. He's on the line in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Ricky. Going once. Ricky in Pennsylvania going twice. Alrighty then. I think we've got another Ricky on hold here. I'm not sure if it's the same Ricky. It may be the same Ricky. Ricky in Pennsylvania? Hello, Ricky. Going once. Ricky going twice. All right, so back to culture was what we kind of started out this hour discussing, and I thought it was an interesting and somewhat heated discussion here, so figured we'd bring it back around. We were talking about, well, there was a caller in the second hour of the show, Alex, I believe was his name, who wanted to restrict immigration to where people coming from Muslim countries into the United States would just simply not be allowed to come in. And of course I said, well, that's a problem because, well, first of all, it's not, freedom oriented, number one, but further, it also will make us less free here because the government is not just going to be able to stop people from those countries from coming in without having to build a total police state with, papers, please, checkpoints all throughout the United States, not to mention on the border, but also just wherever they want to put them, as they've already been doing in many places.
Right, and when you think of the border, most people will think of, that couple thousand miles between the U.S. and Mexico and the couple thousand between the U.S. and Canada. Mm-hmm. But really, every port of entry, so every airport that's an international airport where there's a flight coming from a foreign country, that technically becomes
the
border. Every place where a boat that has gone or could possibly go to a foreign country becomes a border.
Correct.
So you would then have to, man all of those with an increased amount of people.
So you're talking about a huge increase to the Border Patrol. Huge.
Federal government. Most of those places already have, because they're already borders, they already have people, but you would probably need to add extra people to, then super scrutinize things to make sure that all of the T's are crossed and
they'll
I's
tell
are
you
dotted.
The Border Patrol, the immigration control types will tell you the Border Patrol's underfunded and understaffed, and they need to have more people. And it's certainly, if you're going to guard the western and eastern seaboards, you're going to need a lot more people.
Right, and then you'll wind up needing to have people that can, just patrol around and look for people that look like they might be from a Muslim country to make sure that all of their documents are in order.
Well, right, because if you're going to say that people from predominantly Muslim countries need to be stopped from coming into the United States, it's only one more step to say, well, then also you need to get rid of the ones that are in the United States. Again, I'm not saying either of those things. I believe in freedom to travel. I think anybody who wants to come make a better life for themselves from wherever in the world should be able to come here. But to act like the people who want to control immigration and stop Muslims from coming here do not also want to get the Muslims out of the country would be to be dishonest, because I guarantee you most of them would love to see some sort of mass exodus forced out, having the federal government round them up and throw them out of the country. Don't act like they wouldn't want to do that.
So
that's a little bit more difficult to pull off, though. Because
it's damn difficult to pull off, and requires a total police state.
It requires a lot more than that. Because if you take your own citizens and you put them where, like, some other country doesn't just have to take the Fed's people. Like, what are you going to do with them?
There's a couple of friends of this show, Will Coley and Davi Barker.
That's right.
Both of them born in the U.S., both of them became Muslims.
Correct.
So if the people that say, well, Muslims should be deported, well, where are you deporting Will Coley? The man was born and raised in the hills of Tennessee. Where does he go?
Well, they can find an island somewhere. And, have you ever seen Escape from New York?
Nope.
So, 1980 John Carpenter movie with Kurt Russell in it. And basically what happens is they turn Manhattan into essentially an island prison.
Okay.
And they just basically dump off all of society's unwanted into this place, and they can do whatever they want in there. And the plot of the movie is that Snake Plissken, who's the anti-hero in the film, has to go and rescue the president, who has accidentally fallen into this prison colony thing. And it's actually a pretty entertaining movie, and I highly recommend it. But they could do that, right? They could take one of their territories or something like that and basically just turn it into a prison island.
Okay, so right now I think the Palmyra Atoll is vacant, so could just put people there, put them on Midway Island.
Well, that was my answer to you. That's what they could do if they wanted to.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of some of the territories that are uninhabited because, in theory, you wouldn't want to move everybody off of Guam and then say all of the prisoners now live on Guam.
Well, isn't there only like 60,000 people on American Samoa or something like that?
Not a lot in American Samoa. So they're not even American citizens. They're nationals, so they have even fewer rights, so you could just kick all of them off.
Yeah. So I don't know why we were going off on that tangent, but yes, you were asking what could be done with the people.
Well, what do you do with the American citizens that were born and raised here that should be deported because they're Muslim?
Well, I bet you they would also come up with some sort of program to brainwash them, right? Like to deconvert them or whatever from being a Muslim. Yeah, you can stay here in the United States so long as you agree to go through this program and have our police agencies keep an eye on you from now until forever.
Well, I've got a question of how that seems to fit in with Amendment 1, that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
That's not any kind of document the government follows. What are you talking about?
Right, they'll just ignore that thing at this point. But, that's what we're discussing here. You're welcome to join us. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. And then,
although you'll have to call in right now because we've only got about a minute left.
That's true. And then, Melanie, you brought up this concern about culture. Because you say that, you don't want to restrict people from coming here. And
no, because that would violate the NAP.
The non-aggression principle.
I don't have a solution to this. But pretending that everything I don't have a solution to isn't a problem is not a good way to go about life.
And you're saying the problem is people who are different would come here.
Well, it's not that. Some things are different and they're better, and some things are different and they're worse. I mean, you're
I'll give you that.
So if it's someone from a worse culture and they're coming here,
God has blessed them. They've managed to get out of a total S-hole and come to a better place to, bring their family, possibly create a business.
And
right, but you're
culture
acting
is
like
better and worse is completely subjective.
Yeah, it is completely subjective. But that doesn't mean you can't just ignore all things that are subjective. I mean,
well, you don't have to ignore it until
you moved to New Hampshire to change a culture, and now you're acting like people moving from one culture to another won't change the culture.
That's okay. Things change. Change is good. Learn to embrace it because you're not going to get away from it. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Foodforliberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, September 19th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,315 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $611. Antiwar.com reports an oil tanker at the Libyan oil port of Ras Lanouf has been forced to flee into the water to avoid being caught up in heavy fighting over the weekend as a pair of ports were attacked by forces loyal to the Libyan Unity government aiming to reclaim the ports. These oil ports have been under the control of the Unity's Government Petroleum Facilities Guard, PFG, until last weekend when General Khalifa Haftar's forces loyal to the rival Tobruk parliament attacked and captured the important oil ports. The PFG is meant to defend facilities from being overrun like this, but many of them had been repurposed by the Unity government into a makeshift offensive force which has been trying to capture the city of Sirte from the Islamic State. Short-handed, the Guard was unable to fend off the well-armed Libyan National Army for very long, and while the international community is urging Haftar to cede the ports back, so far he's refused to do so, and his forces managed to repel this weekend's counter-offensive. The fighting further reduces the amount of oil Libya is able to export, adding to economic struggles that have been constant since the NATO-imposed regime change, and no faction seems to be able to control the entire oil apparatus for any measurable span of time. Are you an advocate for free market money? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports 4 Abu Sayyaf hostages, including a Norwegian man who had been held for almost a year, were freed over the weekend. Jartan Sekingstad was retrieved from the southwestern Philippine city of Jolo by Secretary Jesus de Ruza, an advisor who works as a liaison with Muslim and communist insurgents on the peace process. Military officials said Sekingstad and the